What if the worst sins you've ever committed never happened in real life? What if no one ever saw them, no law could punish them, no relationship was visibly destroyed by them, and yet they still happened somewhere no one else could enter? What if they only happened in your mind? A revenge fantasy, a sexual thought you would never admit out loud, a moment where you imagined betraying someone who trusts you, a flash of cruelty, a secret desire for someone else's downfall. No action, no evidence, no scandal, just a thought. So tell me something honestly. Is thinking a sin? We live so much of our lives inside our heads now, more than we admit. We rehearse arguments in the shower. We replay rejection in bed. We imagine success, revenge, sex, power, apology, collapse. Entire invisible worlds are built behind calm faces and polite voices. A person can sit still at dinner and be spiritually somewhere else entirely. And modern psychology gives us language for part of this: intrusive thoughts. Thoughts, images, urges that appear without permission. Sometimes violent, sometimes sexual, sometimes disturbing in ways that make you question yourself. They can feel so personal and so shameful, even when they are unwanted and deeply against your actual values. That is where the tension begins. Because religion talks about purity of heart, not just clean behavior, not just public morality, heart, intention, desire, the hidden interior. And that sounds beautiful until you realize how much of your interior is not clean, not calm, not holy, not even under full control. So what exactly is God looking at? The polished version of you that people can tolerate, or the private theater in your mind where jealousy, lust, resentment, and fear keep auditioning for the main role? Because if God cares about the heart, then this question gets uncomfortable very fast. Jesus says something terrifying in Matthew 5. Not only do not commit adultery, he goes deeper. Whoever looks with lust has already committed adultery in the heart, not in public, not physically, in the heart, which means the moral line is not only crossed by bodies, sometimes it is crossed by desire itself. And that raises a brutal problem. If a thought appears automatically and then disappears, was that sin? If an image flashes across your mind and you hate that it was there, are you guilty? If temptation arrives before consent, where does responsibility begin? At appearance? At attention? At enjoyment? At repetition? Christianity has often treated intention as morally serious for a reason, because evil usually does not begin with action. It begins in affection, in permission, in the quiet inner yes before the visible event. Long before betrayal happens outside, it often begins as a room prepared inside the mind. But then another question refuses to go away. If many thoughts are not chosen, if they arrive uninvited, if even disturbing mental content can show up in people who would never act on it, then how can guilt be assigned so easily? Are we judged for what enters the mind or for what we welcome once it enters? Maybe that distinction matters more than we want it to. A thought can knock on the door. That may not be your fault. But what happens when you open it, seat it at the table, feed it, replay it, decorate it, and return to it because some part of you enjoys what it gives you? Because, let's be honest, sometimes we do not merely suffer thoughts. Sometimes we curate them, we revisit them, we sharpen them, we build little cathedrals of resentment and call it processing. We rehearse speeches we will never say. We imagine being desired. We imagine being superior. We imagine being vindicated. And the scary part is that no one interrupts you there. In public, there are consequences. In private, there is almost unlimited freedom. The mind can become the one place where you keep sins alive in their purest form because they cost nothing immediately. No witnesses, no accountability, no damaged reputation. If thoughts are sins in the full moral sense, then who survives that standard? Every human mind is a battlefield. Every person has imagined what should not be imagined. Every person has entertained some darkness, some envy, some lust, some bitterness. If every inner stain counts the same way as action, then innocence starts to look impossible. But if thoughts do not matter morally at all, then morality becomes theater. Then goodness is just self-control with good PR. Then the heart becomes irrelevant as long as behavior stays socially acceptable. smile outside, rot inside, and still call yourself righteous because nothing visible happened. That feels wrong too, doesn't it? So we are trapped between two unbearable possibilities. Either the inner life matters so much that none of us are clean, or it matters so little that holiness becomes performance. Either way, the mind refuses to stay morally neutral. Something about your secret thoughts seems to reveal you, and something about them also seems unfair to judge. Neuroscience complicates this even more. Many thoughts emerge automatically before conscious reflection catches up. The brain produces associations, images, impulses, memories. Sometimes your mind offers you something grotesque, absurd, or disturbing before you had any chance to approve or reject it. The thought arrives first. Your judgment arrives after. That matters, because moral responsibility usually assumes some level of choice. We hold people responsible for what they decide, intend, pursue, justify, repeat. But what about the material that simply appears? Can a person be condemned for the weather inside their mind before they even choose how to respond to it? Psychology says unwanted thoughts do not automatically define character. A thought can be random, intrusive, ego-dystonic, deeply inconsistent with who you are and what you love. In fact, the very reason it disturbs you may be that it violates your real values. The horror you feel may reveal conscience, not corruption. But religion keeps asking a harder question than psychology usually asks. Not only did you choose the thought, but also, what did you do with it once it arrived? Did you resist it? Did you confess it? Did you nurse it? Did you turn it into fantasy, identity, private comfort, repeated ritual? Maybe the moral center is not the first spark, but the second movement. Not the flash, but the fellowship. Not the intrusion, but the agreement. Not what storms through the mind, but what the heart begins to embrace, protect, and revisit because it secretly wants the world that thought creates. And now we get to the part no one likes. Some thoughts are not accidents. Some are rehearsals. Some are cherished private rebellions that never become public, only because opportunity never came. Some people have not acted, not because they are pure, but because they are constrained. By fear, by consequences, by timing. So what does God see? Does he see a scared good person attacked by unwanted mental noise? Or does he see a heart slowly attaching itself to what it pretends to reject? Maybe both are possible. Maybe that is why this subject is so terrifying. Because two people can have similar thoughts and be in completely different moral conditions. One person hates the thought, grieves it, resists it, lets it pass. Another person feeds it in secret and returns to it at night like a hidden altar. Same category of thought, different posture of heart. And maybe that posture is what actually matters most. Not just the content of the mind, but the consent of the soul. Which means this is not really a conversation about being perfect. It is a conversation about honesty, about whether you are willing to admit that your inner life is morally significant, even when no one can verify it, even when it ruins the flattering story you tell yourself about who you are. Because maybe the deepest human temptation is not doing evil. Maybe it is wanting innocence without inner truth, wanting to be seen as good while privately negotiating with darkness. Wanting moral credit for self-restraint while secretly loving the fantasy of what we would do if there were no consequences. So let me ask you the question again, but harder. If God can see every thought you have ever had, every image, every urge, every private replay, every resentment you polished, every fantasy you returned to, every act of secret mental escape, what exactly would he be judging? The noise? The desire, the consent, the pattern? And if he sees not only what crossed your mind, but how you held it, shaped it, argued with it, justified it, or loved it, then innocence becomes a much more serious word than we usually think. Maybe far fewer of us are innocent than we imagine. Maybe none of us are innocent in the way we want to be. But here is the final discomfort. If even your thoughts matter, then salvation, grace, mercy, repentance, all of it has to go deeper than behavior management. It cannot only be about looking clean. It has to reach the place no audience sees. The hidden room, the inward life, the heart that keeps secrets from everyone except God. So maybe the real question is not, have you done bad things? Maybe the real question is, what have you become in secret? And if God has seen every thought you've ever had, what does he think of you? Would any of us still be innocent? Or is that exactly why this question refuses to leave us alone?